Long, I'm from the Mail and Guardian. Look, I mean, in July 2021, there were people that were saying that if former President Zuma is indeed arrested, there would be riots. In this case, there have been people who are saying that if he's not on the ballot, there's not going to be a vote. People will not be allowed to vote because of how they feel about him. Is this not something that is worrying the IEC, the continuation of going to court when there's threats like this? I mean, we saw people, over 300 people die in July 2021. So are you not worried about what those people who are saying that they are going to ensure that there's no voting, that with the continuation of you going to court? And the second one from me would be that the issues of signatures that the IEC required from political parties, I think it was about 60,000. How did the IEC verify those signatures were indeed of those people whose ID numbers are there? Did you call them? Because if, for instance, we live in a country where corruption is rife, ID numbers can be found anywhere. How do you then verify to say this ID number, indeed, this person who signed it is the one that belongs, whose signature belongs to that ID number? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sis Kate. CEO Pizzo, Kaya News. CEO, there's a court case taking place at the Electoral Court, whereby 5 smaller parties are fighting the IEC to be included nationally on the national ballot. Was this announcement not too early? Couldn't the IEC perhaps consider waiting for the decision of or the judgment from the Electoral Court? If the court rules in favor of the parties, what are the plans from the IEC? Thank you.
Peter, before we just which announcement? Which announcement is premature? I'm not following. Sorry about it.
The 5 political parties. At I think from yesterday it continues. But just to summarize, the judgment has been reserved by the Electoral Court on the matter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
There was also a question about Commissioner Love to resign. These are the answers.
Call for Commissioner Love to resign. It's not a matter that the Commission has looked at. Neither has Commissioner Love looked at the matter. So, personally, absent any substantive evidential material establishing misconduct on the side of Commissioner Love, then there would be no basis for such a resignation. Now, with respect to the Constitutional Court appeal, it is preferable to lodge an appeal when you have reasons, because then you can follow the reasoning of the court against whose orders you are appealing. But when an appeal is lodged against the orders of court, not against the judgment. And we have orders in this case, and on the basis of those orders, we think that there's a need for clarity on a number of issues. One, did the Commission go beyond its scope of authority in invoking Section 47(1)(e)? We have no clarity as a country on that aspect. Commissioner Love prejudged the issue to the extent that she ought to have recused herself. We don't know whether the statement that he made in response to a media question did in fact constitute prejudging the issue. Does remission of sentence amount to to the reduction of the sentence as ordered by a court of law? We don't know. So those questions have to be answered for the clarity of everybody in respect of the immediate case, but also in respect of future elections. Are we not worried about violence? The Commission is always worried where the safety of people and the safety of property are concerned, because an election should never be an opportunity for people to lose life. It should never be an opportunity for people's property to be lost. It is rather an opportunity for the voter to record their political choices in an election that is arranged in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution and the law. So the Commission is clarifying those constitutional provisions that have a bearing on the preparation of the elections. And insofar as security matters are concerned, the security agencies of the country are responsible to secure all of us. And I'm sure they may be having plans to safeguard the election, to safeguard the election material, to safeguard the people, to safeguard the staff of the IEC, and to safeguard the property of all South Africans. Now, I think the two questions that I ought to answer have been answered, and we can give over to Masego to deal with the rest of the questions.
The first cluster of questions relate to identifiers on the ballot paper. Section 68 of the Electoral Act gives the Commission broad-ranging powers to determine the design, look and feel, and identifiers on the ballot. The Commission exercises that power based on an internal policy that does a number of things. One, it codifies practices as it relates to how ballots have been designed in successive elections. It also draws lessons from focus studies that we did with the Human Science Research Council to aid voters to be able to make their choice with confidence without inadvertently miscasting or spoiling their ballots. So the decision that a photograph of the registered leader of a party will be one of the identifiers is to be found in that policy of the Electoral Commission. And that has been a practice for successive elections up to now. The questions related to the signatures. An independent candidate or an unrepresented party, over and above submitting a list of candidates and paying a deposit, ought to submit a list of signatures. There are two steps. The first step is that that party or independent candidate first captures the ID numbers of the supporters onto the portal. Secondly, they must upload the signatures, hard copy signatures, onto the portal, or deliver those to the Electoral Commission. The Commission does not have a database of signatures, so it doesn't verify that the signature belongs to a voter. All that it does is to check whether the number of captured signatures are supported by the requisite number of signatures in order for a candidate to qualify. The parties that are still in court, there were in total 11 applications in the Electoral Court assailing either the timetable or alleging that the online candidate nomination system was dysfunctional to the extent that candidates or parties could not meet the requirements to submit. There is clarity as it relates to the 5 matters that have been dismissed by the Electoral Court. The court had 6 other matters yesterday. Substantially, the arguments are the same. The court has reserved judgment, and we anticipate that we will receive an order, even if we do not have reasons, by late tomorrow, and that will determine when we start to print the ballot papers, because some of the matters still to be determined they implicate the configuration of contestants on the various ballot papers.